Hare Krishna everyone, so we are continuing with Civilization and Transcendence by His Divine Grace Śrīla A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And this is Shravanam Diaries podcast. I'm your host Sulalita Devidasi, and we are starting 11th chapter today, entitled, quote, "Feel the oneness," unquote, with a difference. So feel the oneness with a difference. Let's go. Puṣṭa Kṛṣṇa. This next question is rather interesting, Śrīla Prabhupāda. Quote, "Is it not possible for all kinds of spiritualists, be they Advaitans, advocates of oneness of the self with God, Dvaitans, advocates of total difference between the self and God, Viṣiṣiṣṭādvaitans, advocates of qualified oneness of the self with God, to come together instead of remaining isolated as warring factions?" Unquote. Śrīla Prabhupāda. Yes, this is the process taught by Caitanya Mahāprabhu, to bring all the Dvaitans and Advaitans together on one platform. Everyone has to understand that he is essentially a servant of God. The Advaitan wrongly thinks that he is absolutely one with God, that he himself is God. That is wrong. How can you become God? God is ṣaḍ-aiśvarya-pūrṇam, full in 6 opulences. He has all knowledge, all power, all wealth, all beauty, all fame, and all renunciation. So this Advaita idea is artificial, to think you're able to become God. The Dvaitans stress that one is utterly different from God, that God is separate from the living entity. But actually, from the Bhagavad-gītā, we understand that the living entities are part and parcel of God. And in the Vedas, it is said, nityo nityānāṁ cetanaś cetanānām, Kaṭha Upaniṣad 2.2.13. Both God and His creatures are living entities, though God is the chief. Eko bahūnāṁ, vidadhāti kāmān. The difference between the two is that God maintains all the other living entities. That is a fact. We are maintained, and God is the maintainer. We are predominated, and we are not independent, and God is the predominator. But because the predominated living entities are part and parcel of God, in quality they are one with God. So Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu's philosophy is acintya-bhedābheda. The living entities are simultaneously one with and different from the Lord. The living entity is one in the sense that he is part and parcel of God. So if God were gold, the living entity would also be gold. That is oneness in quality. But God is great, and we are minute. In that way, we are different. That is why Caitanya Mahāprabhu enunciated this philosophy of acintya-bhedābheda, inconceivable, simultaneous, oneness with and difference from God. That is real philosophy. So, on the platform of this philosophy, everyone can come together if they are reasonable. If they remain unreasonably stuck up in their own concocted philosophy, then it is difficult. But it is a fact that the living entity is eternally one with and different from God. Find this verse Mamaivamsho jivaloke. Harishauri. Mamaivamsho jivaloke jiva bhuta sanatana manashashthanindriyani prakriti-sthani karshati. Quote, the living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. Unquote, Bhagavad-gītā 15.7. Śrīla Prabhupāda. So, if the living entity is eternally a fragmental part, how can he become one with the whole? The part is never equal to the whole. That is an axiomatic truth. So, it is a wrong conception to try to become equal to God. The Mayavadis are trying to become God, but that is impossible. Let them try to become godly. Godly means servant of God. Instead of trying to become God, try to become godly, servant of God. That will make them perfect. The Vaishnava philosophy teaches that we can remain in our natural position, but act as a servant of God. That is perfect. But if the servant tries to become the master, that is artificial. Of course, in the spiritual world, there oftentimes seems to be no difference between the master and the servant. For instance, Krishna's friends, the cowherd boys, they do not know that Krishna is God. They play with him on equal terms. When Krishna is defeated in play, he has to take his friend on his shoulder and carry him. The friends do not know who is God and who is not God. So that is the advanced spiritual conception. Of course, the difference is always there between God and the part and parcel living entities. But by the influence of God's internal potency, the understanding is covered. We can attain that position after many lives of pious activities. That is stated in the Śrīmad Bhagavatam 10.12.11. Itam satam brahma sukhanubhutya dasyam gatanam paradaivatena maya shritanam naradarakena shakam vijaru krita punya punjah. The cowherd boys are playing with Krishna. And who is Krishna? He is the essence of Brahma Sukha, spiritual bliss. He is Param Brahman, the Supreme Spirit. So the boys are playing with Param Brahman, though to an ordinary man he appears to be an ordinary child. How have the cowherd boys gotten the position of being able to play with Krishna? Krita Punya Punja. After many lives of pious activities, they have gotten the position of playing with Krishna on equal terms. So this is the conception of pure devotional service. That when you go to Goloka Vrindavan, Krishna's abode, you love Krishna so much that you will not distinguish between the Supreme Lord and his subordinates. The inhabitants of Krishna's abode have such unflinching love for Krishna. That is Vrindavan life. The calves, the cows, the trees, the flowers, the water, the elderly man, Krishna's parents, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai. Everyone is intensely attached to Krishna. Everyone's central point is Krishna. everyone is loving Krishna so much that they do not know he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sometimes the residents of Vrindavan see Krishna's wonderful activities and think, Krishna must be some demigod who has come here. They never recognize that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Or if they do, Krishna makes them immediately forget. When Krishna manifested his pastimes on earth, some 5,000 years ago, he passed through many dangerous situations. So many demons were coming, and Mother Yashoda would chant mantras to protect Krishna, thinking he may not be put into some calamity. Krishna's family and friends never understood that Krishna is God. Their natural love for Krishna was so intense. Therefore, Vrindavan life is so exalted. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught, Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam. First of all, Krishna, Vrajendra Nandana, the son of Nanda Maharaj, is Aradhya, worshipable. Then Tadhama Vrindavanam, his abode, his Dhamma, Vrindavan, is equally worshipable. So these facts pertain to a higher standard of understanding. Only a devotee can understand that to become one with God is not a sublime idea. In Vrindavan, the devotees want to become the father or mother of God, to control God with love. This fact the Mayavadis or Advaitavadis cannot understand. Only pure devotees can understand these things. What is the benefit of becoming one with God? Even other Vaishnava philosophies cannot explain the higher relationships with God, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained. There are Vatsalya Rasa, parenthood, and Madhurya Rasa, conjugal love. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu especially taught that our relationship with Krishna can be in conjugal love, Madhurya Rasa. But as for our general understanding, Lord Chaitanya introduced the philosophy of acintya-bhedābheda, simultaneously one with and different from the Lord. That is explained by Krishna in Bhagavad-gītā 15.7. Mamaivam sho jivaloke jiva bhutah. The living entities are part and parcel of God. So we are one with God, since we have God's qualities in minute degree. But God is the master, and we are always subordinate. Eko bahūnāṁ yo vidadhāti kāmān. We are protected, we are maintained, we are predominated. That is our position. We cannot attain the position of predominator. That is not possible. Haribol! So we have completed this chapter, and we will continue with the next chapter of this book entitled How to Love God tomorrow. So thank you so much for tuning in today. The link to this book is in the description, and we shall see you next time. Hare Krishna.